Strixhaven is taking us back to school, having us pick a magic-powered major to express and master the arcane. In this video, I will present a build for a student attending Lorehold, the college dedicated to history and uncovering magical secrets of the past. With this Lorehold build, you have dedicated your studies to an ancient martial arts form that blends might with magic as a Bladesinger Wizard. Hello, welcome to Dungeoneers Pack, a channel bringing you player-focused discussions and character guides for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Josh, thank you for watching. Before jumping into the build, let's take a look at my character build guidelines. I'm going to focus on levels 1 to 10 as most campaigns are played in this level range. The goal of the build will be to fulfill the concept, but also be viable for combat and roleplay. I will be covering the features and race, class, and background choices that make the build possible. And finally, ability scores will not be defined as each table decides how ability scores are calculated. Instead, I will provide a ranking as to which ability scores you should prioritize for the build. The concept for this build takes inspiration from the Art for Combat Professor from Magic the Gathering. This character is an Allen student attending Lorehold College who has uncovered scrolls of a forgotten martial arts form that blends arcane fury with martial might. For this build's race, since Combat Professor features an Allen, we're going with the newly introduced Strixhaven race. Allens will grant us the Magic Sight and Nimble Flight traits. Magic Sight grants us Detect Magic, adding it to our spell list, and Nimble Flight gives us the ability to fly at first level. When it comes to this build's class and subclass, I went with the Bladesinger Wizard as I feel it best captures the imagery of the Art for Combat Professor and also dives into the flavor of the Strixhaven setting, letting you cast spells like any budding mage and jump headfirst into combat with a sword. Since this build is for a student of Lorehold, the college has students taking up studies that will have them visit ruins or other historical sites trying to recover artifacts. The archaeologist background from Tomb of Annihilation is a perfect fit for a Lorehold student. This build is flexible in its combat roles, capable of being a striker wanting to weave in and out of combat using a blade, but since this character is a wizard, they have a full spell progression making them capable of playing the blaster role. Out of combat, this character is the perfect troubleshooter, able to collect information using intelligence-based skills or casting a variety of spells to solve puzzles or overcome challenges that stump the party. For our ability scores, prioritize intelligence to support our spells, some of our class and subclass features, and our skills. Next is dexterity for our attack and damage rolls with our sword and for our initiative and armor class. This is followed by constitution for some decent hit points, then wisdom, followed by charisma, and strength will be our dump stat. Moving on to our skills, the archaeologist background gives us proficiency with history and survival. History will represent our character's knowledge with past civilizations and events. Survival will have us tap into our inner Indiana Jones or Lara Croft, helping us avoid natural dangers. Being a wizard gives us proficiency with Arcana and Investigation. Arcana is our character's knowledge of magic from the past and present. Investigation is perfect for this character as they look for hidden rooms or traps while in ruins, or look for hidden messages or codes in ancient tomes. The last skill we receive is for being an Allen, which is Stealth. This will help us skulk around and take a cautious approach before diving in headfirst into a situation. Now let's get into a level by level breakdown. Starting at level 1, we pick up our wizard proficiencies, the arcane recovery feature, and spellcasting. We are proficient with daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows. Our background gives us the choice between cartographer's tools or navigator's tools, and I'm choosing cartographer's tools as this character will be familiar with charting maps to locate ruins to excavate. Arcane recovery could be flavored as a meditation technique learned from reading rediscovered scrolls that help you regain spell slots. Lorehold students wield spells that deal radiant or fire damage, communicate with spirits, or help reconstruct artifacts, so the spells chosen for this build will reflect this while still trying to be viable in play. Another thing to note, the list of spells in this build is not comprehensive. With that said, here are my suggestions for cantrips and first level spells. Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade as your primary melee cantrip. Firebolt for a ranged option, Mage Hand, Message, and Prestidigitation for utility options. Absorb Elements and Shield as defensive options to mitigate damage when in melee range. Both could be reflavored as an arcane shield made of radiant light. Next, consider Burning Hands and Find Familiar, where our familiar we summon is actually a spirit from the past taking on a form of a small animal statue brimming with radiant energy. And at last, Comprehend Language, Detect Magic, and Identify as investigative utility spells to help with reading ancient texts and locating and identifying artifacts. With level 2, we pick up our subclass, and as previously mentioned, we are taking Bladesinger. As a Bladesinger, we receive the Training in War and Song and Blade Song features. Training in War and Song grants us key proficiencies which allows us to survive in melee combat. We gain proficiency with light armor and in a one-handed melee weapon of our choice. Choose a weapon with the finesse property to make attack and damage rolls with dexterity, since it's our second highest ability score. My suggestions would be a short sword, scimitar, or a rapier. Bladesong will give us an increased armor class and movement speed, a bonus to concentration checks, and advantage on acrobatics checks, providing another tool to survive in melee combat. At level 3 we gain access to second level spells, and here are my suggestions. Agonize or Scorcher, Flaming Sphere, Hold Person, and choose between Blur or Mirror Image. This build should have a decent to high armor class which favors Blur, but if for some reason your armor class is on the low side, take Mirror Image. Next, at level 4 we have the option to choose between an ability score increase or a feat, and I went with the feat choosing Warcaster. Warcaster will reinforce our concentration checks by allowing us to roll advantage when we make them. This is already strengthened by the additional bonus provided by our Bladesong feature. The biggest boon for the build we receive from this trait is the ability to cast a spell on a creature that provokes an opportunity attack. This gives us a bit of control, capable of casting crowd control spells like Hold Person or Booming Blade to trigger an extra bit of damage. For level 5 we gain access to 3rd level spells, and here are my suggestions. Dispel Magic and Remove Curse to shut down harmful effects in and out of combat. Fireball, protection from energy, could be reflavored as an extension of the arcane shield made of radiant energy. Speak with Dead to communicate with the spirits of the recently deceased. Spirit Shroud to summon ancient spirits to help us in combat, and Thunderstep. With level 6, we receive the extra attack feature, but unlike martials and other Gish subclasses, we can make a weapon attack and follow it up with a cantrip. When we hit level 7, we get access to 4th level spells, and here are my suggestions. Divination could be flavored as our way to speak with the spirits of the past, Banishment, Sickening Radiance, and Wall of Fire. At level 8 we have the option to choose between an ability score increase or a feat again, and this time I went with the ability score increase. Choose between Dexterity or Intelligence. Increasing Dexterity has the potential to increase our armor class, attack accuracy, and initiative, while increasing Intelligence will increase our armor class and concentration checks when Bladesong is activated, and also our spell attack and spell save DC. You can't go wrong with either. Hitting level 9 we get access to 5th level spells, and here are my suggestions. Animate objects can be flavored as spirits coming to our aid, imbuing themselves into various artifacts for combat. Dawn, Hold Monster, Immolation, Legend Lore, and Wall of Light. And finally, for level 10, we receive the Song of Defense feature. This feature could be flavored as the same Radiant Shield spell we have casted on us. We're able to mitigate incoming damage as a reaction by spending a spell slot. The damage is reduced by 5 times the spell slot's level. Now let's take a look at our pros and cons. For our pros, we are a wizard. That means we have a full spellcasting progression and a wide selection of spells to choose from. Even with my flavor-focused spell suggestions, you can create a spell list to flex into any role that's needed for the party. Another pro is that we have a high defense potential since we will be adding our intelligence and dexterity modifiers to our armor class. For our cons, we are a wizard. We only have a d6 hit die for our health, leading to a small health pool despite the potential for a high armor class. And the last con, our potential role flexibility might come at a cost. We might be pulled in too many directions and torn on what action to take, trying to decide between swinging our sword or casting spells. Our spell slots are a limited resource, and being flexible requires strong resource management. With that said, I want to hear from you. What kind of Lorehold student would you make? Let me know down in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, I drop a video every week, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want to check out more character builds, I have a playlist just for you. You can click on the thumbnail on the screen or the link in the description below. Alright, I'm out of here. Have a good one.